Hey guys, I'm Sam Mills, and it's that time of the year again. It is the Drop Punt Grand Final edition, and I know I said I was going to come back with a proper series this year, and I didn't, and I think I've said that about 4 years in a row now. But anyway, it's too late for that. We're here at the Grand Final, and what a game it is going to be. Well, we're not literally here at the Grand Final. It is the Thursday before the Grand Final, and the teams have come out. If you've been living under a rock, it is the Adelaide Crows and Richmond in the Grand Final. And we're going to kick straight into the teams. There has been no changes for either side. So, no changes. It's been a while since that's happened, I think. Last year, I remember the Swans dropped Marsh, and of course, they couldn't play some of their other players due to injury. So, we'll start with the Adelaide backline, and it is Rory Laird, Kyle Hartigan, and Jake Lever. I saw a suggestion on an online forum this weekend, Big Footy, that Jake Lever should be dropped because he hasn't signed a new contract with the Crows yet. That's probably the worst suggestion I've ever seen, to be quite honest, but there's a lot of nuffies on there. From the half-back line, Paul Seedsman. Never would I have thought this bloke would be playing in a grand final, honestly. But he is a big game player, as we saw in the Anzac Day game a few years ago. So if I was a betting man, I'd put some money on him for the Norm Smith, because I feel like he's just going to explode in this game. He's only played 4 or so for the year, so he's still pretty fresh, and yeah, he's a really good option off half-back. Then they've got Daniel Talia and Luke Brown. The centre line, David McKay, Rory Sloane and Rory Atkins. The half-forward line, Charlie Cameron, another who is rumoured to be moving up to Brisbane. Josh Jenkins and Eddie Betts. As you know, even though he was a Carlton player, I think it's fantastic to see Eddie Betts in the grand final. He is genuinely one of the superstars of the competition, and I do hate how commentators struggle around that word, especially James Brayshaw. When he was on the Footy Show, every week you'd say, "Oh, he's one of the superstars of the competition," and they'd bring out some player like Jared Blair. But Eddie Betts genuinely is a superstar of the game, probably up there with Buddy as one of the only two. Danger, I guess. So it's great to see him in this grand final, and I hope he can really light it up. Forward line, Tom Lynch, Taylor Walker, and Richard Douglas. The interchange bench, Riley Knight, Jake Kelly, Hugh Greenwood, and Andy Otten. And the followers, Sam Jacobs, Brad Crouch, and Matt Crouch. The Crouch brothers, what a year they've had. And Sam Jacobs as well is ever consistent. The emergencies for Adelaide, Wayne Malera, Alex Keith, and Riley O'Brien. Very strong lineup there for the Crows. Obviously, they'd be missing Brodie Smith, but as I mentioned, Paul Seedsman is a pretty decent backup. So we'll see how they go. The Tigers, how can you go past the Tigers? It's just been a fairy tale September for them. A fairy tale season coming off last year. It's fair to say nobody would have tipped them to make the top 4. Barely anyone would have tipped them to make the top 8, but they've gone and proved everyone wrong, and certainly that faith shown in Damien Hardwick has been rewarded. We're starting from the full-back line, Brandon Ellis, Alex Rance, and Dylan Grimes. Rance, as ever, Mr. Consistent. You just can't go past him. Half-back, Basher Hooley, David Asprey, and Nick Vlorstone. David Asprey is a player who I've actually bagged out a few times on Twitter. I was watching a game last year, and he had about 3 turnovers in the space of a minute. And so I got on Twitter and decided to say, at least Collingwood may be bad, as I am a Collingwood supporter. Collingwood may be bad, but at least we don't have David Asprey on our list. And look who's laughing now. David Asprey's playing in a grand final. Centre line for the Tigers, Camden McIntosh, Trent Cotchin, who of course got off that questionable concussion charge that was against him. I think if it was any other player, and if it was maybe, say, round 14, I reckon he would have copped a weeks for that one. But I'm pretty happy he didn't, because you sort of want to see the best players in the grand final and see the best of the best go at it. And Jacob Townsend finishing off the centre line. His rise has been phenomenal. He was playing well in the VFL all year, obviously won the Liston Trophy, their best and fairest. And there was a pretty good article on him in the paper the other day that said he stuttered his whole life, and he's actually scared of speaking to the media because of that, which I thought was really open and honest, and yeah, it was definitely an article that I recommend you read. The half-forward line for the Tigers, Kane Lambert, Dusty Martin. What more can you say about this man? The Brownlow medalist. I don't want to get stuck into all that, because he is the best player in the competition. There's no doubt about that. And then Josh Caddy on the other half forward flank. The full forward line, Dan Butler, Jack Riewoldt, who has been down a little bit in the past few weeks. I think if he can find form in this grand final, it's Richmond's to lose, honestly, because it was very poor against the Giants. He's had a poor second half to the season and a poor final series. So if he can find form, I think he's really the key for the Tigers. And Daniel Rioli, of course, in the forward pocket, goal of the year winner. He is a budding superstar. I don't know, his game against the Giants was just superb. And yeah, he certainly changed. I think he kicked 4 goals in the end. Yeah, so he's going to be a star, and this is only the first game in his real making of his career. The followers for the Tigers, Toby Nankervis, Dion Prestia, and Sean Grigg. Still can't believe Sean Grigg's getting a lineup, and he's playing in a grand final. That's almost like Zach Dawson playing in 4 grand finals, I think he did in the end. The interchange bench for the Tigers, Shane Edwards, Jack Graham, Nathan Broad, and Jason, aka George Castagna. So many of these players just have no names. It's incredible that they've made a grand final off the back of these players. I'm just genuinely shocked. The emergencies, Sean Hampson, Corey Ellis, and Jaden Short. I'm surprised Bolton actually didn't get Shea Bolton. He played a ripper in the VFL Grand Final on Sunday. Surprised Hegan didn't get a spot in the emergencies. Obviously, he was not going to play. But yeah, his first minute or so in the Grand Final was just superb. I think he kicked about 2 goals, went missing for the rest of the day. But yeah, he was really showing some signs and some bright signs for the Tigers supporters. The umpires for this game, Matt Stevick, Simon Meredith, Sean Ryan, and the emergency is Brett Roseberry. So old mate Matty Nichols and Ray Chamberlain miss out again. Matty Nichols made a terrible call on Saturday night that probably confirmed that he wasn't going to make it in, but one day he will get another grand final. The boundary umpires, Mitchell Lefebvre. This is what I love. Who are these boundary umpires? They're getting their 5 minutes of fame. Damien Cusack, Matthew Koncheska, and Robert Heiler. And the goal umpires, Luke Walker, Adam Wadchick, and the emergency is Matthew Dervin. So that is the complete lineup for Saturday afternoon at the MCG, and we hope it is not the last Saturday afternoon grand final, because if we were to go the way of a twilight, as good as Saturday night was, I think Saturday afternoons need to remain. So 2:30 p.m. start at the MCG, Channel 7, Fox Footy don't have it actually, Channel 7 HD, you already know that, make sure you get on it. So it's obviously Thursday night. Tomorrow is Grand Final Friday, the public holiday in Melbourne, and most of Victoria, I'm pretty sure. So the Grand Final parade is, of course, happening. I think that's from 12. I'm going to try and get down there, which should be good. And just, yeah, it's an opportunity for these Tigers supporters, many of whom can't get tickets. And I don't want to open up a whole other can of worms on tickets, because I've seen people who have been to about one game in 5 years grabbing tickets, supporters of other clubs. I would personally feel so selfish if I was to take a ticket from a Richmond supporter for this match. Just couldn't do that. If it was a Giants versus Gold Coast Grand Final, more than happy to go. They don't have any fans, it doesn't worry me. But the Tigers, they've been waiting for 35 years for something like that. You just need to give their supporters as many tickets as you can. So a good chance for those with no tickets to get down there. And I think Richmond's open training is tomorrow as well at about 9 o'clock. So it should be a ripper day, and hopefully the sun comes out to make the most of it. I spoke a little bit about the prelims before, and I'll just go into a little bit more in depth, I guess. Friday night's game was Adelaide and the Cats at Adelaide Oval. And it was sort of a comforting moment for me, because I've been saying for about 3 years now that the Geelong are just such a fraud of a side. They've got a massive home ground advantage, playing most of their home games at Simmons, where no other team plays. And then they play the G often enough to know the ground, so they're not an interstate side by any means. So they obviously have a ripper home and away season, but when it comes to finals, all their players just absolutely, conquered in. You got Dangerfield and Selwood leading the way, but then all the other players, you think Mitch Duncan's their number 3 midfielder. He did not play well at all. throughout the whole final series. So that was really disappointing from a Geelong perspective. And I just honestly can't see them taking that next step to a premiership. I don't know what they're thinking going after players like Stringer and, re-getting Ablett. I don't think adding any of those players is going to help them too much because the youngsters really aren't that good. That's all you can really say. They really aren't that good. And, well, if they wanted to have another crack, they should have held on to Stevie J and the likes of all these names. They may be done, but they could have still had that cohesion there, and they could have brought in Stringer and Ablett, and, well, that really would have been a last crack, but I guess then they'd be behind on the rebuild. So you can't really have it both ways, but I think, they're stuck between a rock and a hard place, the Cats. So it was good to see the Crows get up there. I didn't actually watch the game. I was at the Melbourne Storm game. But anyway, I was at the game on Saturday afternoon/night. The Tigers and the Giants. One of the best atmospheres I've ever been to. I've been to 2007 prelim, Pies and the Cats, and 2010 prelim as well. And this went really close, if not topping it. Just when the Tigers supporters yell out yellow and black during their theme song. Still get chills thinking about it now. It was an incredible game. I thought the Giants in the first half were just about ready to break that game open. You just saw how easily they cut through the field and cut through the defence of the Tigers. And the Tigers had to work so hard for their goals early on. But after half-time, Richmond just turned it on and the Giants went to sleep. It was a much-deserved victory, obviously, for the Tigers. And as much as Collingwood are supposed to be rivals of the Tigers, and I'm a Collingwood fan, as much as they are supposed to be rivals, it is good seeing that these long-suffering fans grab some success and grab some happiness while it's available. I think the next few years, or even last year as well, it's so open. So many teams can win it. The Giants haven't kicked on as originally thought. Hawks have obviously fallen down. Geelong, can't see them doing much. So it's so open. I honestly don't know if Adelaide, if they win this year or if the Tigers win this year, they'll go on a dynasty like the Hawks. I can't really see that happening. So it's a chance for some of these fans of long-suffering teams to grab some premierships, I guess. So the pre- and post-game entertainment on Saturday is the Killers, and I'm really excited because the Killers are one of my favourite bands, and I think it's one of the best entertainment I think the AFL have pulled for a very long time. Obviously, it's not going to match Meatloaf because Meatloaf was the greatest of all time, but it's certainly better than Ed Sheeran. He can't get a crowd pumping. Who did they have last year? See, I can't even remember. Ellie Goulding they had one year. Not good. But the Killers are a genuine rock band. They're still releasing good stuff. Their last album was pretty good, so make sure you check that out. I think they're gonna be really good. The Temper Trap a few years ago were okay, but the Killers are really gonna take it to another level. We'll go through a bit of other news now, non-grand final related, because I'm gonna attempt to do a drop punt trade episode later on, but I think we all know that I'm not going to be able to get to it. So the major names on the trade table this year: Jake Stringer from the Bulldogs. They reckon he's going to go to either the Cats or Essendon. I think it'd be a good fit in at either of those sides. Essendon definitely needs someone to help out Joe down forward, and the Cats need someone to take over from Hawkins because he has been not great this year. Jack Watts has been rumoured to go to Port Adelaide or Collingwood. Hopefully not the Pies because I can't see him doing much. Port, I guess he'd fit in there. I just don't know what to make of Jack Watts. He was okay this year. Nothing outstanding. But he's always not going to live up to that billing as number one draft pick. Gaz, of course, Gary Ablett Jr. is coming home, he reckons, from the Suns to Geelong. It's going to take more than what the Eagles gave Hawthorn for Sam Mitchell last year, or what Melbourne gave Hawthorn for Jordan Lewis to get him back home. I don't think the Suns will let him go that easily, especially not Tony Cochrane, because he is one crazy cat. We'll say that. The Giants, they're doing another clean-out sale like they did last year, and surprise, surprise, Carlton are getting all of their players. except for Nathan Wilson, because he's going home to WA. But Matt Kennedy, who is a highly rated junior, and Devon Smith, who has shown some of his good work in the past year, they're both rumoured to go to the Blues. Devon Smith also linked with the Pies, but some figures that we're hearing that maybe a 5-year contract on the table for Smith to go to the Blues. So you think he'd have to take that. And the last one, although he signed a new contract, Josh Shackey is continually being linked with a move down back home to Melbourne. Not sure if it's going to happen this trade period, but you think it would happen at some stage during his career. I can't see him spending his whole career up the Lions. Richmond were heavily linked, but they've ruled out going for him. So I wouldn't put it past maybe a Collingwood moving for him, given the amount of forward line plays that they do need. And with rumours of Fasolo wanting out as well. So who knows? So I guess that's just about where we wrap it up for today. And I guess for the year, because I'm not going to do another one, let's be honest. Tip. Who am I going to tip? Well, I was going to say on top of this is the first grand final I can remember in a long, long time where I don't really care who wins. Obviously didn't like supporting Hawthorn during their dominant years. Always wanted the opponent to win. I don't know. Maybe since 2007, you sort of wanted Geelong to do it, but I sort of hated their fans, and Port Adelaide, But I'd be happy enough to see either Richmond or Adelaide win this match. Overall, I think I've tipped losers for the last 5 years now. I've tipped against Hawthorn each time, and I tipped the Swans last year. So whoever I tip is going to get the kiss of death, and I reckon Adelaide are going to do it. I reckon Adelaide are going to win the grand final, or maybe 15 points. 15 points, and as I said earlier, I'll lock in Seedsman for the Norm Smith, just because he's an ex-Collingwood boy, and he's a big game player. So let's see what happens. Saturday afternoon, 2:30, MCG, Adelaide and Richmond. It's going to be a cracking game, hopefully better than the rest of the finals games this year, because they've been quite awful. So it's going to be awesome. Can't wait to watch it, because I missed last year's grand final, because I was working. But anyway, love it. See you in the trade period, maybe. I'm Sam Mills, signing off. Catch you later.